Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. Thank you so much for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to be making 10 cards with the Spellbinders June 2022 card kit. This kit is all about birthdays. It is called Party Hat and Streamers, and it is perfect just in time for Spellbinders to celebrate their 20th birthday this month. And if you love making birthday cards as much as I do, you have to check out this kit. I will have links to this kit down below in the description box of this video. And as always, I so appreciate when you use my affiliate links because I do get a small commission on every purchase at no extra cost to you. So as always, I'm going to start out by showing you the contents of the kit, and then we'll get into where I make my 10 cards. So every kit includes an inspiration card. Here's the name of the kit, Party Hat and Streamers, and it always lists the contents of the kit on the front. And on the back side is a card showing you how to use the dies that come in this kit. So here is the cardstock that comes in the kit. You get a sheet of the Spellbinders gold mirror cardstock. You also get a sheet of the blue, green, orange, yellow, pink. There's a light pink and a hot pink or a dark pink, and then there's also black and white. So those are your cardstock colors for this month. Every kit includes a pack of 10 card bases and envelopes. These are A2 in size, and a pack of foam squares as well as double-sided adhesive tape. You also get a pack of puffy stickers. These are some sentiment puffy stickers. So there's sentiments such as let's party, let's eat cake, woohoo, just say yay. And you also get 2 sheets of chipboard stickers. So this is front and back, and these are again chipboard stickers. There are some sentiments and other icons on there. And then you also get a set of party hat stickers. They do have a gold and white pom-pom there on the top of those party hats. Also included is a stamp set. There are several birthday sentiment stamps as well as a stamp which includes some candles. The dies included in this kit will make a party hat, so I'm just going to pull them out here on my table and let you take a look at them. So you have this die that actually makes the party hat. There are several pieces. There's also a couple of dies to make some flowers. And there is a set of word dies that say make a wish. So if you pull out this sheet that comes in the kit, it will show you how to put this party hat together, but I'm going to show you as well in my video today. You also get a pack of gold sequin mix and a 6x6 paper pad. So I'm just flipping through this paper pad really quick so you can see all of the fun designs. You do get 2 of each sheet of the papers included in this paper pad. I do want to let you know that Spellbinders does sell this paper pad separately, and they also sell the ephemera pack, which you'll see here momentarily. They will sell that separately as well, and I will put links down in the description box to those if you just want to pick up an extra paper pad or an extra pack of ephemera. So here is the pack of ephemera. It is packed full of so many birthday pieces to make your birthday cards. So you can see that there are some rainbows and presents and cake and balloons. There's several flower ephemera pieces. There are candles, and there's also 2 of every piece of ephemera that you see here on the table. So if you're making your cards, you can probably do 2 of the same design by just using the ephemera and the pattern papers, since there are 2 of each one of the pattern papers as well. But you can see all of the fun birthday ephemera included in this kit. So I'm going to go ahead and get started making my 10 cards, and as always I will have a coordinating blog post with all of my card measurements and supplies. So if you're interested in duplicating any of these cards, head on over to my coordinating blog post. The link will be down in the description box below. So the large piece of orange cardstock that measures 5.5 by 4.25, and I layered on that pattern paper, the balloon and the rainbows. That one measures 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then I had that diagonal piece. I had an orange layer that's 2 3/4 by 4. And then that orange pattern paper with the polka dots is 2 5/8 by 3 7/8. So I just put that diagonal piece again at a diagonal on that large card layer, and I just snipped off the excess, and then I'm adding these large pom-poms, and I'm going to be using the birthday girl ephemera. I'm just tucking that girl in behind the sunglasses like you see there, and then I'm going to add the puffy sticker that says "Let's Party." So just lining that up and adding it to my card front. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue down the sunglasses with the girl. First, I'm going to glue her legs to the sunglasses so she doesn't move underneath there. And then I'm going to flip that over, and I'm going to add glue to the entire back side of both of those ephemera pieces, and I'm going to add it to my card front. And then I'm going to add some of these star shapes. These are also from the puffy stickers, and I'm adding a couple of enamel dots from my stash to the center of those pom-poms. And then I'm going to add this to one of the A2 size card bases that comes in the card kit. And then I decided to change out those white enamel dots with some darker color enamel dots. I'm bringing out some more of the orange in the card. And that completes my first card. So quick and easy using the ephemera in the kit. Moving on to card 2, I have a piece of yellow pattern paper that measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then I have this strip of paper with the rainbows on it and the balloons. That is 4 1/8 by 1 3/4. And I'm just adding it there to the bottom half of the yellow pattern paper. And I'm snipping off the excess, but again, the final measurement of that is 4 1/8 by 1 3/4. Okay, so I have this pink pattern paper. It's 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. I'm going to add that right to the center. And then I've already pulled out all of my ephemera pieces, and I'm going to go ahead and arrange those on my card front. So I go ahead and lay down the rainbow where I want it first. I tuck the sun behind the rainbow. I am going to include some flowers at the bottom right-hand corner of the rainbow. And I decided to pull out this girl ephemera piece that where she's kind of has one leg raised and her arms raised like she's reaching to the sky. But I'm also adding the Make Your Dreams Happen ephemera piece that looks like a call out, and then I'm adding some of the stars from the ephemera pack. And then I'm going to add that layer to an A2 size card base, and that's going to complete that card. Moving on to my next card, I'm taking some of the dies that are included in the Spellbinders Small Die of the Month for June, and I'm going to die cut some of this pattern paper. This was just some leftover paper from the previous card. And I'm just taking that border die and I'm die cutting the bottom part of the cardstock and then the top part of the cardstock just to create a border with this little scalloped edge. And then once I run that through the die cut machine twice, I'm just going to snip off the paper from the rest of that pattern paper. And you'll see me use that piece here momentarily. But in the meantime, I'm taking a piece of the solid green cardstock. I did cut that down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I also took a piece of the candy pattern paper, cut that down to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 and layered that on top of each other. And then I'm going to go ahead and take this strip of yellow paper that I cut down to 1/2 inch by 4 1/4, and I'm going to layer that right down the middle of that scalloped piece of pink pattern paper that I cut out just a moment ago. So I'm going to add the pink scallop to my card towards the top. That scalloped green piece is part of an ephemera piece that came in the kit. So I'm going to go ahead and add the scalloped square right on top. I'm going to turn that over and snip off the excess for the strip that I added to that card front. And then I'm going to take this ice cream cone chipboard piece and I'm going to add that to the scallop. I was debating on whether I wanted to put it at a diagonal, but I ultimately chose to add it straight up and down. And I pulled out the word celebrate, that's also a chipboard piece, and I added it on that scalloped strip. And I chose to use celebrate because it fit perfectly inside of that scallop strip and it brought out the colors in that green. I just love how those colors accent each other. And then I'm adding that to an A2 size card base, and that's going to complete my card. And I actually did use a Queen & Company card sketch for this design, which you see here. And here's my completed card. So moving on to card 4, I have a piece of gold mirror cardstock. I did cut that down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I am putting it here on the front of an A2 size card base. I did snip off the center just using a rectangular die so that I can save that cardstock for another card project. And then I have some other layers of cardstock. So the pink solid is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I'm going to put that right on top of the gold cardstock. And then the pattern paper that has the words on it, I cut that to 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to add glue to the back, and I'm going to add that to the top of the pink cardstock. And then I have a strip of yellow pattern paper. I cut that down to 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. So I'll add that to my card layer. And then I have a piece of pattern paper with pink and then the white polka dots. I cut that down to 1 5/8 by 3 7/8. And I'm going to add that to the front of the card. And I've already picked out my ephemera that you see there laying on the table. I'm going to use a cake piece of ephemera, some balloons, some scallops, a banner. So I'm taking this scalloped piece, I'm just going to trim off the part that I don't need. I wanted it to be exactly the size of the width of the pink with the white polka dot pattern paper, and I'm going to add that scallop to the bottom. Next, I'm going to arrange the rest of my ephemera pieces, and then I'm going to add them to my card front. So I start with the banner up towards the top. I'm going to add the cake right on top of that scallop. That scallop edge, it just serves as a landing piece for the cake, so it kind of grounds that cake on that paper. I add the balloons, and then I'm adding the chipboard happy birthday sentiment, and that completes that card. For card 5, I have another piece of gold mirror cardstock that I cut down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Again, I cut the center out just to save that cardstock. I always like to save that gold mirror cardstock for other projects. So I cut out the middle as much as I can when I'm layering it underneath other layers. And then I have a piece of pink solid cardstock that's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So I'll layer that on top. And then I have a piece of this pink pattern paper. It's 4 by 5 1/4, and I'll layer this one right on top as well. I'm going to use the candle ephemera, and I'm also pulling out another scalloped edge. I wanted that scalloped edge almost to look like a cake layer, so that's why I chose to use it there. So I add the scalloped edge onto the center of that card front and then added the candles on top. And for the sentiment, I'm just stamping this out on some white cardstock. It says, "Now wish like you mean it." And that sentiment is from the stamp set that's included in this kit. I did cut it out just in a rectangular shape, and then I did put some double-sided adhesive foam tape on the back, just some foam strips, and then I'm just going to add that sentiment to the bottom of the candles. I love that sentiment with all of those large candles. I think it's so cute. So that completes that card, and then moving on to my card number 6, I have a piece of green pattern paper that is 5 1/4 by 4, and then I'm taking both of these ephemera pieces that are the candle strips, and I'm lining them across the bottom of that card layer. I'm going to snip off the excess, and I'm going to arrange these ephemera pieces, and I know I'm going to use the woohoo, so I'm just kind of seeing where I want to add these ephemera pieces so that I have enough room for the words. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these down, and then I'm going to add the words woohoo. Now notice that woohoo has an exclamation mark. As I'm adding these, I do end up losing the dot on the exclamation mark. So my final card is not going to have an exclamation mark because I looked everywhere for it in my craft room, and of course I could not find the dot. I did initially add it, but then later in the video I start messing with the dot because I didn't line it up straight enough, and you'll see that the end card doesn't have the exclamation mark. But nevertheless, moving on, I do add some enamel dots, and then I add some of the party hats to the front of the card. I also add a piece of the flower ephemera, and then I'm going to add this card layer to a piece of solid pink cardstock that measures 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Here's where I start messing with the exclamation mark, trying to move it over, and then I lost it. So I remove the whole thing, and now I'm going to add this layer to an A2 size card base. And that will complete this card. So moving on to my next card, I've already cut down all of my cardstock pieces. I'm going to start with these two pieces of pattern paper. So I have that cake paper that measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I'm going to add this orange with the white polka dot paper right to the top. That orange pattern paper is 2 1/2 by 5 3/8. And then this orange and white scalloped piece of pattern paper is 4 1/8 by 2. I'm going to add that across the center. Next, I'm going to take these two pieces of solid cardstock. I have an orange square that's 2 1/8 by 2 1/8, and I have a white square that's 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. I'm just going to layer the white on top of the orange, and I'm going to add that to the front of the card. Next, I'm going to glue the flag down. I want to tuck it underneath that square, and then I'm going to arrange these ephemera pieces. I'm using some of the presents as well as the cat and the gray cat, and then the white cat. The little white cat is just the head of the cat, and I'm actually going to tuck it behind the group of 3 presents, almost like it's peeking out behind the presents. I am going to put a couple of pieces of foam strips on the tail of the cat, just because I need to add some height to that tail, because it's not going to be positioned on top of a lot of layers of cardstock as the body is. So just by adding those foam strips there, it will just add some height there so that it's easier for me to glue down the tail, and that the cat is actually even when it's sitting on the cardstock. Next, I'm going to add one of the sentiment pieces here towards the bottom, and then I'm going to add that entire layer to an orange piece of cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I am adding some of the gold gems from Spellbinders to the front of the card, and that entire layer will go on an A2 size card base. And then that's going to complete my card. I did use a card sketch for this design, and the card sketch is the Mojo Monday card sketch 538. So you can see that here. And moving on to my next card, I stamp out one of the sentiments from the stamp set. This says "Sending Birthday Hugs." I love how the letters are open so that you can color them in. So I'm going to take my Zig Clean Color Real Brush pen in pink, and I'm just going to do some watercoloring here, just coloring the tops of those letters in the pink marker. And then I'm going to use the blender marker to blend that color through the rest of the letter. So it gives a nice gradient look, and I love doing this type of effect. So if you have a water brush, you can use a water brush the same way as the blender. And I'm just going to do that same color throughout all of the words on this sentiment. Next, I'm just going to use my scissors, and I'm just going to fussy cut around this sentiment to cut it out. Next, I'm going to take one of these heart ephemera pieces, and I'm just going to blot on some of this Candy Shop pink ink from scrapbook.com. And now I'm ready to start putting this card together. So I have this piece of pink solid cardstock, and that pink solid measures 4 1/8 by 1 7/8. And I'm layering on that candle pattern paper that's 4 1/8 by 1 5/8. Next, I have another piece of solid pink cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm layering on the happy birthday paper that's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then I'll add that strip right to the bottom center of the card layer. I'm going to go ahead and add this frame. This is a chipboard frame, and I'm adding that to the strip of candles that you see there. And notice that it does have some cutouts at the bottom of that chipboard frame, which I'm not quite sure why it has that, but I'm going to go ahead and add some more chipboard pieces. These are some birthday presents. I'm going to add that to cover up those cutouts on that chipboard frame. And then I'm going to tuck in this cat with the balloon. And then I'm going to add the heart towards the top, and I'm going to layer the sentiment over top of that heart. I'm going to add this layer to the A2 size white card base, and then I'm going to finish off this card by adding some of the Spellbinders gold gems to the front. And that will complete card number 8. So moving on for my next card, I have this pink and white piece of pattern paper that I cut to 1.5 by 5 3/8. I'm going to add that toward the left side of the rainbow paper. I love that rainbow paper. I think it's so cute. That rainbow paper measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I also have a piece of yellow pattern paper. That yellow strip is 4 1/8 by 5/8 inches. I'm going to go ahead and add that across the bottom. I did cut out a stitched circle. This stitched circle is a 3-inch stitched circle. I'm going to add that to the front, and I'm going to layer some of these ephemera pieces right inside that circle. So I have the cassette tape, I have an ice cream cone. I love how the ice cream cone has a rainbow for the ice cream. I think that's so cute. And then I'm going to add a flower and some leaves. I'm also adding the word hooray. I believe that's a chipboard piece. And then I'm adding this little heart banner up towards the top of the card layer. And then I'm going to add that entire layer to a piece of solid pink cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'll add that to a card base. And for this design, I used the Mojo Monday Sketch 539, which you can see here. And here is my completed card. Okay, so moving on to my next card, I am going to be using the dies that came in the kit. I die cut this piece of pattern paper. This pattern paper I love because it has some gold dots on it. So I am going to be using some of the gold mirror cardstock to bring out some of that gold in the pattern paper. So these two dies, one is for the fringe on the bottom of the hat and one is for the pom-pom on the top of the hat. And I'm die cutting them out of the gold mirror cardstock. And then I take this die cut it also out of the gold mirror cardstock. This is going to be the background for the pattern paper. So you'll actually be able to see the gold through that pattern paper because that's going to layer right underneath it. Just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the back of the pink pattern paper, just along the sides and along all of those striped diagonal lines, and then I'm going to add that to the gold mirror cardstock, and you can see how that gold shows through those diagonal stripes. I think that is so pretty. Okay, so moving on, I am taking the fringe die. I'm just putting some glue towards the top of that fringe, and I'm just attaching it to the back of the party hat, towards the bottom of the party hat, just lining that up. Next, I'm going to flip that party hat over, and I'm going to fold the sides of that party hat along the score lines, and I'm just going to add some glue and attach the sides to the back of the party hat. As I was attaching those sides, the fringe die cut piece actually detached, so I just go ahead and add some more glue and just add it right back to the bottom. So this die cut piece is actually for the pom-pom on the top of the party hat. And in order to create your pom-pom, all you're going to do is roll this die. So I just start at one end and I'm just rolling it all the way till I get to the other end. And once you reach the end, you're just going to take some of your glue and attach it. Just add some glue to the back and then attach it. I'm just squeezing it together with my fingers. And then once you do that, you're just going to take all of those fringe pieces and just separate them just like I'm doing here. And that's going to create your pom-pom, and then you can attach that to the top of the party hat. So instead of using that die cut piece for the pom-pom, I am using the pom-pom off of one of these party hat stickers. So I just detach it from the sticker and add it to the top of the party hat. Okay, so now to put this card together, I have a piece of solid pink cardstock that's 3 1/8 by 4 1/8, and I'm attaching it to a piece of yellow cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I have this strip of pattern paper, and that measures 1 7/8 by 5 1/2. I'm going to add that to the left side. And then I have a stitch circle that I die cut out. It's a 3 1/2 inch stitch circle. Die cut it out of the pattern paper that you see there, and I'm adding it to the center. And then I'm going to add my party hat right to the center of that circle. I'm also going to bring in some of the flowers from the ephemera pack and layer those around my party hat. And I'm going to add a little piece of scrap cardstock underneath the bottom part of this flower just to raise it up a little bit and give it some more height so that it lays flat on my card. Next, I'm going to add the sentiment that says celebrate. It is a stamp from the stamp set included in the kit. So I'll add it to the bottom right hand corner of my card layer. And then I'm going to add this card layer to an A2 size white card base. I will add an enamel dot to the center of that yellow flower. And that's going to complete my card. So here are all 10 cards I made with the Spellbinders June 2022 card kit. I would love for you to leave me a comment and let me know which card is your favorite. If you are interested in any of the products that I've used or in this card kit, I will have the links posted in the description box below. If you like this video, please click that thumbs up button and be sure to click subscribe and turn on your bell notifications so that you'll be notified every time I release a new card making tutorial. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and have a great day. Bye-bye.